And a lot of these departments have been losing power. A lot of them don't have backup generators. Let's see. Bullard has one. White House has one. Troop has one. Red Springs has one. And the others don't have any kind of backup generators at all. I feel like that we really need some backup generators at these stations. These stations become a community, kind of a community center, if you might say. If you lose power or you have a disaster in that area, that's where they'll come. White House had the same thing whenever that tornado and all come through Jacksonville and hit Henderson. They lost all their power out there and had limbs down, trees. And Chief Hargis was telling me that their fire station was the only thing within miles that had electricity. And he said his station was full of the community people, a meeting place. So, you know, it's more than just a fire station. At that point in time, it becomes more of a community assistance area. So I've been looking at it, and I know that we have $200,000 in our capital improvement fund for this year. We budgeted. We actually budgeted that money for, I budgeted for fire truck for Noonday, but we were able to pay for it out of last year's budget. So my second thought was that if we didn't use it for that, we could use it for backup generators, and I've just been waiting, you know, until we get on into the budget year to approach it. So what I need to know from the board, I haven't done a lot of research. I've done enough to know approximate cost. We can get a backup generator for the main station for like $20,000. That's a commercial type generator, a liquid cooled with an automotive engine that can run for a long time. And then for the substations, we can get a smaller backup generator for like $10,000. But that's like air-cooled engine that you really don't want to sit there and run for 4 or 5 days nonstop. They're pretty tough on it. But to completely get all the stations with some type of backup power, it's like $174,000. That's just a rough figure. If we leave the substations out and just do one station per department, the main station, somewhere around $135,000. But I need to know from the board, is the board interested in it? If you're not, I'm not going to pursue it. My time and time for electricians and engineering the generator. If you are, then we will go through looking at what it's going to take and get some hard numbers. Those are just approximate numbers, but they're pretty close in the ballpark. So I'm just trying to get some direction of where to go with that.
You have a comment?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I'm against this because we have 4 generators, and I just don't think this is a wise use of taxpayer money. I'm sure you have reasons why it is. But I want to see a pay raise. I know we're working toward that. We haven't ever had a pay raise for our men or women since we started ESD2. Also, if we took that $174,000, that's a lot of money towards the construction of a new station. And that gets us a long way toward a new station. When we get the debt paid off, we'd be that much further ahead. I feel like the whole idea of ESD2 is us working together. We've got 4 generators, and we've got a station that's down power. Move the 4 over there. I don't think it's that hard to do.
No.
You can't
They're on concrete.
No. Okay.
Well, I was going to tell you, the taxpayer is not going to like this. And the taxpayer is who's paying this bill, and we have to be wise stewards of their tax money. And if they don't pay their taxes, they lose their house. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Gentlemen, any else got any comments?
I mean, in general, I kind of agree with what he's saying. My whole deal is, I mean, I've been in East Texas for, that's 8, so gosh,
10 years.
16 years? No, 26 years, excuse me. For 26 years. I've never been without power myself for longer than a few hours at a time. I think there was one time ice storm came through us without power for about 24 hours.
You need to move out to come.
I live in Flint. Well, okay, that may be the case. May be the case. But in order for us to decide if this is something to pursue, I think the first step is to figure out, do we need it? And if we do need it, how much do we need? Because we can't go and price generators if we don't know what the demand is going to be. And when we're trying to do this, I mean, we're trying to do this so in July we can all be sitting together, all happy-go-lucky, and the air conditioning going. Because at my house, if the power goes out, we just endure a little bit and it goes. And as far as it being a community center, I mean, that's going to happen anyways. So there's a few things that I can think of that, you know, electrically speaking, you need to have backup power to in case of emergency, even for an EMS type setup like this. But I just don't see there being a demand for a $20,000 generator that can run for days and is liquid cooled and things like that. I mean, I've got a business and we do, you know, $4 million a year revenue, but you know, our backup generator is an APC battery backup, and it's attached to each one of our computers. Now, granted, we're not a fire station.
No, I'm the presiding person.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So back to you.
Okay, good. Yeah, this is for our comments up here. All right, Mr. Wilson?
I want to ask Terry, is this just one bid from one company?
It's
Have you
not,
checked
it's
it
not,
yet?
it's a ballpark figure.
From
I don't
what
have any
company?
bids yet because
Oh,
I wanted
okay.
to talk to the board before I went through all the trouble.
If we table it and you get us some
Well,
more
what I'm
prices.
doing is, it's gonna take a lot of extensive research to, I mean, I've been to all the stations, I know they all have a 200 amp service. But in order to really look at each station and see how to put the automatic transfer switch in, what it's gonna cost, it's gonna take a lot of legwork and time, my time and other people's time to bid on it. And if the board's not, they don't wanna do it, there's no need me going through the process, so I guess.
Well, I know
that's
they're
the whole thing.
useful in a lot of areas. Red Springs has 100,000 kW and it costs 30,000. But we'll probably give you some time to look at other prices and all. They're of value, I'll admit to that. And
That's the cost. I mean, that's pretty much the cost.
close to any of them?
20,000 for the 45 kW, which is a water-cooled automotive type engine that runs, or you can get probably around 10,000 for like a 20 kW air-cooled engine. So that's pretty much the cost, I mean, rough cost.
Well, in general, I'm for studying it. We'll take an RFP, come up and maybe a multi-year project, not a one-time implement it, but actually, as a first responder, they need to be able to take care of themselves. When the hurricanes come through, the floods come through, there is no electricity. I do see advantage. Fire department is part of that community, and community people go to that fire department and to police agencies when emergencies do happen in their communities. But again, these are things that you look for long term. Like I say, I think a multi-year project would be, but we'd have to see an RFP and other than just one guy and his bids. Just one guy and his deal. So, but I think it's something that you can bring to us at a later time. Some more information. That would be my intake. You know, not approving anything tonight, but what to look at, but bring up. You're working on a budget. Think about some of the needs. Say the greatest needs. You know.
Okay,
Which departments?
two questions. What criteria do we use to determine which department would get one first? And you do understand the amount of time that it's going to take to do this, and if the board doesn't want to spend the money, I don't want to spend everybody's time to do it right now. I mean, we need to table it till next budget year or whatever. I'm just trying to get a direction.
Isn't this something we can kind of discuss with the long-term planning committee?
That should be one of their recommendations, or it could be one of their recommendations to us.
And then when they make that presentation to us, that'll help educate us a little bit better. And, you know, they're already working on this sort of thing. They know their station's best. We're not asking one person to do it for all the stations. We're not asking you to put more stuff on your plate. But, you know, in between calls and things, this is things that we can ascertain. What do we actually need to run? You know, if there's power's out, what systems need to operate? What are those demands going to be? Do we need to have it to where it, you know, magically comes on and there's no break in the electricity, or can we afford to, you know, go kick it on and things like that? That's all premium stuff that